When passion for making movies intersects with a great entrepreneurial spirit, that's where you will find Michael Kristy, and that's today's takeaway. So I'm very excited about this. This is going to be a great takeaway because the guy sitting to my left here is young, he's 21, he's from Sandwich, but he is the noggin upstairs. He's got a lot up there with creativity, and you're going to be impressed with what you hear if I do my job well. Michael Kristy, good to meet you.
Good to meet you as well.
So being in front of cameras is nothing new for you. But you are a filmmaker. You are at Wheaton College.
Correct. Yeah.
You are also in the middle of a process of a fundraising through GoFundMe for a project that you have that we're going to talk a little bit about down the road. Because I want to give you a lot of props on what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
I'm unabashedly excited to talk to you because I think that this is some really good stuff. And being a guy from Emerson College, you know, as we were talking about before, creative types are creative types, but it's the ones that actually take that creativity and do something. And I see you as doing something.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just a knucklehead that has an opinion, so who knows? I mean, sounds good. Tell me a little bit about who are you? You're from Sandwich, but young age, you got into filmmaking.
It really started, I think, 7th grade. It was when my parents got me like a little dinky video camera, and I wanted to make videos with my friends, really, because they had a YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, I want one, because they all lived in their own neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I want to do that. So then I got one, started making films with them, and then it kind of spiraled out of control where I was like, okay, well then, if they can't hang out, I'll just make videos of myself sitting and talking. And then from then on, I was like, oh, I want to do narrative or like move on to this and that. And then in high school, it really started where I made videos by myself or with my friends, and it wasn't really anything big until 2014, when my friend Josh Noonan was like, do you want to do lip dub? Do you want to help me with lip dub?
Yeah.
And then from there on, that kind of gave like me confidence to be like, oh yeah, I could do this like out in public and people like want to be a part of it.
I saw that lip dub, and that was awesome.
Oh,
and I am fascinated. I've seen them before, but I've never seen it this close to home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fascinating. But going back to when you were younger, what in film and that camera, what inspired you? Was it storytelling? Is it the visual part? What?
It started off visual part where I really like shot composition or like lenses or cameras. I like to like fiddle with the technology. And then I really was for a while just after getting like a beautiful shot or like trying to get the prettiest shot I can. And then after that, that's when it kind of switched. And I was like, well, you can watch a pretty shot for about 5 seconds, but you can listen to a nice story for however long it goes.
Yeah.
You can watch an 1.5 hour movie, and at the end you'd be like, oh, it's pretty too, but you'll never be able to sit through an 1.5 hours of just pretty shots kind of thing.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself now a filmmaker? Would you consider yourself an actor, a writer? How do you? I mean, I watched your work, and I saw your name as editor and writer and director, and you acted in these.
Yeah.
What's your fancy there?
I think it probably has to go writing, I think, is the biggest, because that's where you get everything from. The story is like the heart of everything.
Yeah.
So definitely writing, and then I'd go directing, acting.
Okay.
Acting is new. I think I did it in my last 2 films, and then the feature, I'll be in it too. Yeah. So when I watch the Buster Keaton tribute, and these are in no particular order. I know that they are in order in terms of when you made them. Yeah.
But when I watched the Buster Keaton tribute, I was struck. I was struck at your age as it relates to the product that you were putting out. And being a guy that worked in radio when I was 14 years old, and I was kind of the young guy that kind of worked around all the older, more seasoned broadcasters. You know, I found that when you are young and you're putting out a really good product, there's magic there. Tell me how you came to that project, and you shot it in Sandwich, and you used these actors. How did you do that? How did you put that one together?
Buster specifically was my friend Elliot, who was actually a teacher at Sandwich High School, was my advisor for my first film, Envision. And then we're pretty close in age. I think he's 5 years older than me. So it started off as like, he was my advisor, and then he became a collaborator. And we're like, okay, like, how can we work together? And that's when we did Elmer's Theory, which was the one prior to that with Elliot in that.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, Mike, I'm actually moving to Chicago. Can you take some headshots for me? And I was like, yeah, sure. And at the time, I happened to be on a big Buster Keaton like flick, or I don't know what it was, but I was watching like all of his films, and I was taking pictures of him, and I was like, wow, you look a lot like Buster Keaton. We should do a Buster Keaton film together. And he was like, yeah, sure, just let me know. He's like, next year or anything? I was like, no, like next week, because you're going to be gone, you'll be in Chicago.
Yeah.
So then it was really, I was working here at the time, and we're doing a film festival here that's like a Cape Cod, I love you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And each of the people here is doing a film for it. So I was like, Paula, can I just make this film for it? And she was like, yeah, if you have the resources. So it was really like, I feel like I have enough films out there where people start to trust you, and they're like, okay, this isn't going to be like a rinky-dink, just throw it out kind of thing. Like, I feel like you're going to take it serious. So like, I'll be serious with my time.
Yeah.
So I reached out to Elliot. He reached out to his friend Jason, and we kind of networked off of that. And Maeve, who is the only female in the film, was a high school friend of mine. So I pulled her in. And then just really Taiki and Payson, who wasn't there at the time, but we were all working together on the film just to get it out as quick as we could.
How long did it take to shoot it?
It was 3 days.
3 days?
It was 3 days of just filming, probably 3 or 4 hours each.
Yeah. I have to compliment you on the music in all of the work that you have, all of the work that you've done. Tell me about Envision. How did that come about?
Specifically for Buster?
Yeah.
It was, one of the biggest things was I was just watching his films, and I was like, this is crazy, because it's from the 20s, and like, you see 20s films and you're like, oh, I can't relate. Like, I never would think that's fun to watch, but like, there's just something about it where it's not the shots, it's not this crazy like dolly in or anything like that. You're not like taken aback by any of these like crazy shots, but the actors and what they're doing and how they would like trick you in the camera or anything like that. And like, it's the awe of being like, oh, this is just one take of like this entire thing that they did. And like, this guy just like flipped over a waterfall and then like got hit with this huge something or other. Yeah. And it's just like being shocked by that. And I wanted to try and emulate that. So like Elliot in the film, who's like rolling down hills and like getting hit with all this stuff, or running around, we're doing it all in one take. And I just thought that like, the awe there is like, oh, they did this. It's more of like a feat of instead of it being a film. And
I noticed that in the Beth's Bakery scene, you're coming in and out. You've got the water. I mean, there was more water in that scene than and bread. But it's continual. And I have I'm the guy that like giggles in funerals because I'm not supposed to, but I do anyway. You know, it was just so well done.
Thank you so much.
It was very well done. When you look at the other work that you've done, is there a favorite that you have?
Favorite that I have? I do really like Buster, and then Elmer's Theory is the one that I really like how it came out, and everybody that I talked to is like, oh yeah, I saw Elmer. Elmer's like my favorite.
Yeah. Why?
I think it's all character driven.
Yeah.
So I think like the most important thing in any film is characters, because you could watch people interact, but like plot comes second, then like I said, pretty shots and stuff like that. But if you can get someone to like a character, or to relate to a character, or to like want to see a character succeed, like you have them. And everyone, like the little things in the character you may not necessarily relate to them like 100%, but you're like, oh, he has trouble like internalizing or externalizing, either way. You're like, I'm the same person. And you watch that and you like put yourself in that position.
2's company, 3's the crowd.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
I really enjoyed that. You shot a lot of that at Wheaton, I could tell.
Yes.
How long did that take for you to shoot?
That was actually 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah, so that was very quick. We would film every day after class, so it would probably be like 8 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Wow.
kind of thing, and then go back to class. And that was the last 3 weeks before the end of the school year.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding. Did you get what you wanted out of that? When you watch it now, do you see, did it come to fruition as you originally envisioned it?
It did have to, it spiraled off, not in a bad way, but it spiraled off just because of time. Like this was, it would probably take like 2 months to film it. Like, so we have time and I could be like, okay guys, like this is what's gonna happen in this scene, this is what's gonna happen here. So it came out, I liked how it came out, but there's a lot of like technical things I would have changed or tweaked. And then the longer you have a story in your hands, the more you're like, oh, but what if we did this?
Yeah.
And like with the time limit there, you're just like, this is the script, this is how we do it. And like, if we have this shot, we have to move on.
Yeah. Was it harder than you thought? I mean, is that the longest film that you've made?
Yeah, that was the longest film I made in the shortest amount of time I made a film. So it was a weird combination to do longest film, shortest amount of time allocated. Yeah. But it wasn't harder than I thought. The whole point of like doing a short film now, then like another, then another, then another, then a feature, is to kind of have it under your belt. Yeah. So like you start to notice trends, and like it's nice to let people know like first day it's gonna be rough, it's gonna be weird, like you're not gonna know when I say can you do it again, you're gonna think I'm mad, or like the tech guy's gonna drop a light, or I'll drop a light because I'm usually the tech guy. Yeah. And like once you learn those little secrets, it's not hard, it's just hard work. But it's not like we're doing anything crazy, but like the first day I knocked over a light and like people are like, oh, you said that was gonna happen.
Yeah, right.
Like that.
So what kind of director are you? What kind of, you're on the set, you got people that are there because you're not just, in these situations, you were really experimenting, we were trying to create, and in the true essence of creating art. What kind of director are you?
I really like to make sure that I'm not the jerk on set that's like mad at people, or that if something's not going right, you're like, you can see it visibly in your face. I really want to have a collaborative effort, because what I've noticed from at least watching films or like interviews and stuff, you always hear people like, oh, we came up with that on the day, or like, oh, that line that like everybody quotes now, like the actor just said it and we went with it. And I think like having a group mind is way, way stronger than just having one guy like sit behind the controls and being like, this has to be exactly like this. You
learn from every project?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially Envision, the first film.
Yeah.
Of being like, oh, in my head, like I just put the camera down, everybody does a perfect performance, everybody's mic'd perfectly and stuff. Yeah. And the next film you're like, okay, this is like, sit down, here's what's gonna happen.
Right. I wanna get into Paint the Eyes first. But before we do that, I'm going to rattle off a couple of questions for you. Quick answers.
Sure.
Favorite actor?
Oh, I have to say Ryan Gosling. As of right now.
Okay. Favorite director?
That's a tough one. It was Woody Allen for a while.
Okay.
And just the way he writes, I really liked his character specifically. Yeah. But now I'd have to say probably Edgar Wright. He's pretty high up there.
Edgar Wright?
Yeah.
Who the heck's that?
He does like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Okay.
He has these like his films are like insanely quick. And it's not like the character's super well drawn out. Okay. But the film's moving so quick you can't look away. And like his transitions are seamless. Yeah. Which is like a super important thing, I feel like, when you go from like one location to another, of like how do you move. And like his shots are just like, you don't even really realize you're in the next scene till it's already almost over.
Favorite movie?
For a while it was the movie Big Fish. Have you seen that? Directed by Tim Burton.
Yeah, that's in your movie.
Favorite movie? Big Fish.
Big Fish?
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen that.
Yeah.
You say that.
Yeah. That was
not
for a while.
You don't.
Yeah,
but
Sam says that.
Yeah.
As of right now, I don't know. Really hard to pick one. But there's like a certain like genre, which I think you could see, like from some of my films. You're like, oh yeah, this would fit in like this spot right there.
Yeah. Wheaton. I had told you my wife went to Wheaton, but I was not aware of the arts side of Wheaton. what is Wheaton doing for you in terms of nurturing this? It seems like it's a good environment for you.
Yeah, so what's beneficial at the same time not beneficial, there's two different ways, is like the film projects, or the film program is extremely young at Wheaton. I think it's 5 years old.
Oh, really?
So when I came in, it was like on its first year, first
Yeah.
or second year. So like, no one's ever shot a feature there before, or really anything. Like my film that's 32 minutes is the longest thing that's been shot there before.
No kidding.
And kind of being like, I want to do a feature. My professor's like, no, you don't. And I was like, no, like I've planned this out. Like
Yeah.
I have this down to a T. Like the script's already being written. And he's like, okay, but like it's going to be a lot of work. And how are you going to pull it off? Like on top of classes. And the really nice part about Wheaton was they were like, okay, like if you're really serious about this, you have the script, you have the actors, we'll do it where it's just your major. Like the rest of the film is just your major. So when this film is done, my major's also completed.
Wow.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be able to do it if I had to take like 4 classes a semester, but
Sure.
I have to take, now it's, counting this one, it's 4, but without it, it's usually around 2, and those are my computer science classes.
Yeah. So now let's talk about your motion picture.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, this is not a school project.
Mm-hmm.
This is not something that you're doing just to gain credit, or as you said on your GoFundMe video, or in your description, that it is something that you're just going to post on YouTube and hope people see.
Right.
This is big time.
Yeah.
What makes this big time compared to the other work that you've done? And we're talking about Paint the Eyes first, a motion picture that you're fundraising for right now.
Yes.
When are you going to start shooting? When are you hoping to start shoot?
December of next year.
Okay.
Which is, one of the biggest things is, like I said before, with Two's a company, like time is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And like, the longest I've ever had a script to like rewrite and work on was been about like 2 weeks. And now it's been like 4 or 5 months, and I've rewritten the script like 4 or 5 times. Before I came down here, I just rewrote it, and like I'll send it to you soon.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is time, and really just getting people to be like in the mindset of this isn't a little thing we're going to turn in at the end. I'm not hoping for an A. Like this
Right.
is, we want to go 100%. So like
Yeah.
telling the actors that, and the thing I like to say is that like the difference between a super hard working student and a professional is like a job title. And I think making that like difference known is what makes it the higher level. So everyone's putting like 1,000% in and really trying to get somewhere with the film instead of trying to get a grade for it.
Tell me about the story. What is this movie about?
The log line answer is it's about this homeless character named James, who's an addict and is looking for a place to stay for his first winter alone because he gets his jacket stolen and he's like on the brink of hypothermia, and he ends up breaking into a conservatory, a music conservatory, and befriends the janitor and his wife, Sam. And the story's about, what it's about, but like deep down it's about like family ties and addiction and how those clash and how those coincide and how like it's super important to see someone as a person and not as an addict, which is like the driving point of this film and the character James.
Yeah. How do you put this together in terms of what you need to shoot it, produce it? Like, what are the? How do you? I don't even know where you even begin when you've got a pile of paper that has awesome words, and you can visualize it. But how do you go from paper to shoot?
It's all about the team that you can get behind you. So like, as of now, I think now there's 30 students on board, and it's really just being like, I need you to get the tech side ready. I'll get the actors ready. I need you to get the set ready, costumes, so on and so forth. And then it's the toughest part to explain, which I try to explain, is just like, you just got to shoot. Like the first short film that I did, it's like, well, but what about this? What about this? And it's like, once you just start recording, you're like, okay, that wasn't right. Like I need this here, I need that there. So the way it's going right now is like, the script's done. We're still revising it and stuff all the time. The actors and I are working about like, this is how I feel your character is going to act. This is how we want to act in this scene, so on and so forth. Working with.
Do you do a read through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done 4 or 5 now, and then we go like, scene by scene. Like, what's your motive in the scene? What's the point of the scene? What does your character want? What do they need? Stuff like that. And then you go to the tech side, and you're like, this is what I want the film to feel like, and this is the equipment we need, this is the mics we need. Then you go to audio, so on and so forth, and you really just, you go to each department, and you're like, this is what I see, and how can we make that happen?
Yeah.
Because if you don't go to each person specifically, you have like 30 people's visions all clashing.
How many people do you have working on this with you?
30 students, including myself, and then there's 8 faculty now, and 3 people abroad, so 41 people currently at the time.
Where are you going to shoot it?
It's going to be shot both in Sandwich, in East Sandwich, Lancaster, Massachusetts, and then probably like 1 or 2 scenes in Norton.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm super excited.
Tell me how you're raising this money. How did you? So that process of department by department gives you a sense of, okay, here's what I'm going to need for dollars.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you get that to GoFundMe and what are you expecting out of this?
Yeah. So $25,000 is it's for a film. It's very small, but for like a bunch of students trying to raise that money for a film, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But it's all about, like, I know if like we get the whole crew on board and like they're pushing it.
Yeah.
And like they see that like this is how hard I work, the crew is the exact same, we're all working this hard to make the film done, get it like professional as possible. I feel like that will make it easy, or not easy, but a lot easier to fund.
Yeah.
And my strategy right now has just been like reach out to everybody that you know. I posted it on Facebook, talk to like specific people to share it to. I think we have like 400 people currently sharing it, and just promising people that like, listen, I'm not gonna like just make $25,000 out of this. None of this goes to me. It's all towards a product. Like, you've seen what I've been doing for 8 years, and like this is the epitome of it right now that I'm hoping that'll push me forward.
So there's you're emotionally connected into this. It's not just a film.
Right.
This is important to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of if it doesn't work out?
To a point where it's good to have that fear to push you forward.
Yeah.
But the film's gonna get made, which I think is the most important thing. And failure, I guess, would be like, obviously if you don't raise the money, that's a specific failure.
Yeah.
But then it's just another question of how can we still get this film done without this money. The money is like critical, obviously, because it pushes everything ahead, and we need this, that, whatever.
Yeah.
But just, I wouldn't say not accepting failure, but just working around any possible way of like, okay, we lost this, but now we're going to do it this way, kind of thing.
You are at 21 years old. You really are presenting a sense of management understanding, business. You're taking your creative chops and you're actually doing something, and that's inspiring. And I think as I look at this, and I'm thinking, you know, I was a kid that really wanted to take on the world in broadcasting. I wanted to be. Do you know who Casey Kasem is? I wanted to be the next damn Casey Kasem. And life happens, and things gets in the way. But it's people like you. You set a goal every summer. You wanted to make 1 movie.
Yeah.
And you made 2 every summer. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So you set goals and you achieved them. Take me 10 years down the road. You're 31 years old.
31 years old.
Where am I going to find you?
Ideally on set somewhere.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Making movies?
Make movies, yes,
Okay.
of course.
TV?
TV, yeah.
Yeah.
Really just, I used to, like I said, I used to be all technical, and then I fell in love with writing and storytelling specifically.
Yep.
So really any route I can take to tell a story is what I'm after, but filmmaking is the ideal, is the dream, but TV is also not a bad venture.
Right.
Especially now, because TV is turning more and more.
Netflix,
Yeah.
I mean, HBO, crazy stuff.
And people will watch like 4 hours of something instead.
You can't do all that filmmaking out of Sandwich. So is this a New York thing? Is it an LA thing? I mean, do you have a sense as to where you want to be? And if you haven't told your parents yet, I apologize for, outing you as it relates to where you want to live. But what's your
goal after?
Yeah.
It's really, I would say it's probably, LA is obviously the hub of everything. New York is the close second.
Yeah.
But just getting out of school, pushing this film as hard as I can, but like get to LA, get to New York as soon as possible.
Yeah.
While you still have the momentum of like, listen, I just made this film coming out of college, we're submitting it here, here, and here, and here. Like, what can we do next? And like,
how do you get it into Sundance? How do you get it out there? Once the movie's done,
yeah.
and you got people talking about it, and you got, you know, kooky guys like me saying, people need to watch this, and I will. I'm very excited for this. I wish I had $22,000 just to kind of top it all off, but I don't have my wallet with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but once it's done, what's next? What are you going to do with the film?
That's exactly it. Push it to everywhere possible.
How do you do that?
I went to, there's like a website specifically, Without a Box, where you can just like blast out to festivals, but really the festivals are the key thing, because that's when people are looking at it, and if someone doesn't want to distribute the movie, you can find someone that wants to work with you and move on from there and be like, hey, your film was great, I'd love to get you working on this project, or like your cinematography was great, I'd love to have you talk to me about this, and just find an outlet there. But I went to Sundance actually, I think a month ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I went with
How
my
was
friend.
that?
It was amazing.
Yeah?
And one of the best parts about it was the costume designer is actually who I went with. And the film was already written and like ready to go. And we're watching these films and we're like, really the story's there. The only thing that we have to focus on is like, the film has to be technically perfect, as in like sound and visuals.
Yeah.
Because we have the story, and as long as you can watch it and sit there and stand to listen to the audio and watch it,
Yeah.
the story is on par.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So are we going to see Paint the Eyes first at Sundance?
Ideally, you never know.
Yeah.
I would hope so, but
Nantucket Film Festival.
yeah.
So are there a lot of festivals?
There's, ones that you can submit to, there's thousands.
Oh,
but
no kidding.
There's also one where it's like one guy running it out of his basement.
There's always one guy like that.
Yeah.
So your ask, the takeaway for all of us is the film is being made. You need the funds to do it. You have about, as we tape this, you have about $3,000 right now.
That's correct. Yep.
You're looking for a goal of 25. After we do this interview, I suspect you'll be up to 50,000. But let's just stay with the 25.
Oh, of course.
You're looking to shoot at the end of next year. And you got a bright future ahead of you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Am I collapsing it all in easy to understand terms for you?
That's perfect. Yeah.
Awesome.
Everything is great.
Up on the screen, we're going to put up the information on how to go to GoFundMe. I'm embarrassed to say that this is the first time I've actually seen a project on GoFundMe. So I was fascinated, and I printed out all of the different rewards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for $10 for I think the highest one was basically you'll be your firstborn child.
Yeah. You'll get my firstborn child.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's easy to understand. So if I go on GoFundMe, I'm going to easily be able to see how not only I can help you get this film made, but what in return I can get.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then as you are building your career, you're going to have a nice film. I mean, I haven't read the script, but it sounds like you got a nice approach to it, and you're having fun with it.
Tons, yeah.
And you got 40-something people working on it with you?
Yeah.
As long as Pace and Titcom isn't involved,
I think
you'll be fine.
I immediately kicked him from the project.
Please, no way. Hey, Mike. It is such a pleasure to meet you.
Great to meet you.
And I am merely a blip in you telling your story. But if there's anything that I can do or this video can do to help get that word out, to get you some of those funds and make this damn movie, I think that's the goal.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.